hip-hop soul in the crowd. Yeah.
All right, everybody, it is that time. It's finally here. The College Football Pick'em Show is back. Normally, it's a four-person panel. Roberto is, he's drunk. He is drunk right now on a Tuesday night. So keeping up that scumbag Philly mantra to its fullest. Roberto will be back allegedly next week, so we'll look forward to that. But we got the crew back. The crew, the long-standing crew, coming off a year where, again, am I Billy Walters? I don't know. 58%. You two gentlemen, a little bit lower than that, but that's okay. Hopefully this year you can reach my level. We'll introduce the panel that you're going to have all season long. We pivot first to the leadoff hitter. He is the CEO of Paul Sports Network. He is JC Shelton, UGA Live Football. JC, how are you?
Thank you, Stu, for your correct pronunciation every time we ever do this. I appreciate
Welcome.
it. I missed you guys, and I'm really excited. We were talking about before the call that we need to do this all year somehow, but I think college football has to be around for that. So I just sent an email with all of our names to NCAA right when we started to get that in place. But yeah, excited to be back. A lot of good stuff. Stu, the Robert Stu show is on the Pole Sport Network and UGA Football Live as well. So thank you for the subscriptions. It's doing pretty well. We like the growth. We're trying to get to 1,000 though. And a little bit of career news for you guys. Still at UGA Wire right now, USA Today, running their social as well. But I'm actually lead editor now for the Players Lounge over Georgia, Clemson, and Tennessee. Go Vols, CBD.
There we go.
Yeah, so
there we go.
Yeah,
I like
full time within this season, so been working hard. It's fun though. So brought into you all your good college football coverage. If you're a fan of those sports teams, please hit me up there. Got good stuff coming out with some original content with players themselves.
Beautiful. I like you spreading out besides just covering the dogs.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the MVP. It's our cleanup hitter. He is Mr. Tuesday Night. He is the whole effing show. Effing stands for friggin', because we don't swear on this program. Family program for the kids. He is the incomparable CVD Chris Van Dine.
Wait, what's this about family show? Am I not allowed to curse this year?
Yeah, no, we can curse. I was just trying to reel the listeners in, but yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to. I didn't know if things changed. I don't know. Wait a second.
We haven't even gotten a strike on YouTube.
Bobcat does take away 94% of the cursing. So,
well, yeah, but I say some pretty distasteful things every once in a while.
I know.
The other day we were talking at work, and someone said something about a dead body, and I said, "Well, that's not the worst thing I've ever done to a dead body." So, of course, that was a joke. That was a joke.
Times are tough in Steubenville, Ohio.
I am not in Steubenville, but miss my homies in the Ville though. I do.
Yeah.
So
pour one out for the Big Red.
Yeah. Lost last week, 0-1, but they'll be okay. Yeah, I'm happy to be back. College football finally here. FCS College Football Edition on philsteele.com. I did quite a bit of that magazine. Going to be joining a Montana podcast next week. I'm excited about that.
That is incredible. That there is it's just Montana, or is it Montana?
Just Montana.
State? Okay.
It's the play-by-play guy from Montana, Riley Corcoran, invited me on to be a guest on the podcast, and we're going to talk some Montana football, FCS, Big Sky. I did a radio show. I've done a bunch of FCS radio shows lately. I did one in Maine last week.
There's football in Maine, bro. I thought there was just regret and lobster there or something.
The Maine Black Bear.
That is actually the main mascot. It's a sad lobster tail.
So I've had fun talking FCS football, but I am also ready to kick into FBS.
By the way, Chris,
some fun games.
another shameless plug. I'm really in sick hours. I am really in sick hours. I've been reading the FCS magazine like crazy. So I appreciate the hard work. And I have a feeling that FCS is going to make its way onto this show at some point. But we'll lead off. We'll let the steward of this show, Chris Van Dine, lead us off. Remember the format, gentlemen. We're going to go straight into picks this year. We'll talk about some of the games in or out, but a dog, a lock, and whatever picks you want. And may the best man win. We're going to see what happens here.
All right. I will start with my dog. It'll be Hawaii. I really wasn't sure how to feel about this game. A few weeks ago, started looking a little more into it. This was a lopsided game last year. Vanderbilt won 63-10, but it was Timmy Chang's first game as head coach. He didn't get there until late. He had trouble with his mom's health before in the summer before last season started. So, it was kind of an up in the air situation with Hawaii going into the season last year, learning everything. Timmy Chang is a guy that was first time head coach, so he had to learn how to be a head coach. So Vanderbilt kind of took advantage of that. And actually Hawaii led that game early, but, obviously Vanderbilt ran away with it. But as the season went, Hawaii started to play a lot better. They covered 7 of their last 8 games. Vanderbilt has actually failed to cover their last 3 as a home favorite, including a loss just a couple years ago against the Mountain West team, which escapes me at the moment. But, I just don't – laying a lot of points with Vanderbilt, whether it's at home or on the road, I never like to do. More than a 2-touchdown favorite, I'll take the other team, especially when it's an improving Hawaii team. So, I like the Rainbows, the Rainbow Warriors or the Warriors, whatever they are now.
If you would have told me this earlier, I would have got my Rainbow Warriors shirt out.
I completely forgot we needed to pick a dog, and as soon as you mentioned that we needed a dog, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go with Hawaii. Like I said, I like the way that Timmy Chang has his team moving, and Vanderbilt just as a program, I can't lay big points to them. Trying to figure out, a couple of years ago they hosted Colorado State. They won by a field goal. Last year they beat Northern Illinois by 10 points on the road, but they were actually an underdog in that game. They have not done well when they're laying points. UNLV was the game in 2019. They were laying 15 points and they lost 34-10 at home. So I'll take the points with Hawaii. Going to my lock, I'm going to go with UTEP at Jacksonville State. I really like the Miners this year to show some improvement. 2 years ago, they made the bowl game. Was kind of a surprise team that started out 6-1. They didn't close well down the stretch. But Dana Dimel's in the 6th year now. He has a veteran cast with 15 starters back, including a very veteran quarterback and 23-year-old Gavin Hardison, who feels like he's been around forever. You have an experienced running back in Deion Hankins. Tyree Smith was a wide receiver that was actually supposed to transfer to Texas A&M. He actually did transfer to Texas A&M.
Yeah, he was there for spring ball and then came back, right?
Yeah, he was there for spring and came back. They have a big edge in the trenches on Jacksonville State. 4 starters back on the offensive line. This offensive line was solid last year, averaged over 200 rushing yards a game in CUSA play. So I really like UTEP's running game to be able to move the ball. Defensively, I love the front 4, especially the 2 all-conference defensive linemen, Praise Emewule and Keenan Stewart, both back for the Miners. And, Jacksonville State, I really respect the job that Rich Rodriguez has done. They did get a big addition, well, not really an addition, but 7th-year quarterback Zion Webb is returning, led in passing last year with 1737. He also ran for 647, so he's a dual threat. But I just think this is their first FBS game. They actually opened as a favorite in this game, and that line quickly switched to UTEP -1. I think the veteran cast of UTEP is going to be a little bit more than Jacksonville State can handle. Maybe I figure this might be a little bit of a lower scoring game, probably 24-17, 28-21. I think UTEP wins.
Here's my question about that, Chris, and you did touch on it. This line stinks. This line smells so bad. I don't understand, because UTEP is clearly a better football team.
Well, I think that,
I mean, they are. I was doing the research, and the only thing I can come up with is UTEP is horrific on the road. I mean, on the road, they lost. They were beat by really, really bad teams last year on the road, and like, I'm wondering if Dana Dimmel is just not a good road coach.
well,
Is that
I don't know that they did lose some games that teams you thought they could beat, but they were an underdog against Rice on the road last year. They were actually beating UTSA 24-0 and only lost by a field goal. And they were a 17-point dog in that game. They were an underdog against Louisiana Tech and lost by 10. They beat Charlotte on the road. The one that kind of surprised me was they lost at New Mexico last year by 17.
rivalry game though?
Yeah, they haven't been. Well, New Mexico State's more the rivalry, not New Mexico.
Yeah, battled by 10, baby.
They haven't been a good road team, but also I think that people see Rich Rod. They see 9-2 last year. UTEP is typically not one of the better CUSA programs, so I think that that there are some reasons people might like Jacksonville State coming into this game, and that's why the line might have opened up at Jacksonville State -1. But I just think that UTEP just a little more experience in this type of game, and a little more, the motivation edge you could say is on Jacksonville State's favor because it is their first FBS game. But I don't think that lasts very long. I think that kind of goes out the window after about a quarter, or after about a possession, I should say. That we'll see how much the crowd actually affects this game. I'll throw one more pick out. I do like Louisiana Tech. It is our 2-star in power sweep. Speaking of teams that weren't very good on the road, when FIU lost on the road, they absolutely got blown out last year. Their 4 road losses were by 29, 73, 38, and 34. And none of those were against Power 5 teams. So, yes, they beat Louisiana Tech last year, but it was Sonny Cumbie's first year. The offense, I think, is going to be much improved under Hank Bachmeier. Marquise Crosby for Louisiana Tech, their running back from last year that had over 900 yards, is out for this game. But I do like Jarvis Thornton, who averaged 5.8 yards a carry last year. So I'm going to take the Bulldogs to cover 10. I think they probably win this game by more than 2 touchdowns.
All right. I dig it. JC, do you still need another minute?
No, we're good. We're good.
All right, Mr. JC Shelton lives where UGA Football plays. What would you like here?
We're actually in the same state. I'm actually in Atlanta right now, about 0.7 miles from the Braves. So it's going to be a fun postseason. But let's start with our lock here. Vandy. Mine is Chris. We always do this, buddy. We always do this.
It's starting off hot, week 0.
Yeah. Clark Lee. I really like Clark Lee. I had to unfortunately cover the SEC media days, and I had to listen to him talk for a while, and I didn't want to, but I like his mindset. I mean, he kind of knows what Vandy is. They don't have much of a home stadium at all. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of that crap. They're seating 28,000 people, which honestly, they might have a full stadium for their first time in history. So good for them. But I do like Clark Lee. I like his mindset, and SEC. I don't know. The game was so lopsided last year. I think I don't know if Vandy is the bottom of the SEC, but at least they know that they have to play other teams like that. They did some good stuff against SEC last year, I think, and surprised some people. The offensive defensive line really starts with that. So I hope they lean on those guys. and they cover that. We'll go to dog. Jack State +1 versus UTEP. Yeah, the line is very shit here. Honestly, I needed a dog, and this was the one most comfortable for me because it was such a low difference. I guess one thing that did stand out to me was the Miners were favored by 1 point or more 5 times last season, covered the spread in 2 of those contests. Jack State was 2-1 as an underdog. Yeah, I mean, they moved to the FBS. We'll see if that's a telltale sign. I don't know. What do you guys think that's going to be a big difference for them just coming up? I don't know. I don't think it's much of a difference against a team like UTEP.
I think they're in the right conference, no, Chris?
Yeah. I think they're going to be very competitive. I don't know. I think they'll win a few games. I don't think they're a bowl team yet. But, you have an experienced coach like Rich Rodriguez. He's going to put you in the right position. And they do have an experienced team, 16 starters back. And, at the same time, the one game they played against an FBS team last year was against Tulsa, and they lost 54-17. So some concerns as far as the competitiveness of who they played last year and who they're playing this year. I do think there is a difference, but they'll be scrappy.
Yeah, we're counting on it. We're counting on it. We need them. Come on. Lou Tech. Oh, we're going to straight up picks now. Lou Tech -11. Florida International gave up at least 30 points in 10 of their 12 games last season. Hopefully that defense didn't improve by all that much. I think it's a 14-point game here. So I like the 11 line.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, JC, to back up your point about hopefully their defense didn't improve. Coach McIntyre told Phil after during a call that Sean Peterson might have been his best defensive player. And then Sean Peterson went in the portal after the spring. So, and he ended up at UCF. So, Peterson's the guy that might end up, he's a heck of a pass rusher, might end up in the NFL. You don't get that many players at FIU like that. So you got to think that's going to hurt them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, after the spring, because they play so much, you're going through spring and you're really trying to build that camaraderie, get used to playing with guys, learn the calls and everything. You have a leader like that who's doing most of the calls and trying to teach younger guys. All of a sudden he's gone.
I think they lost 2 starting offensive linemen after the spring too.
That's crazy. They were like, "No, the hell with this. We're going."
Yeah, one of them went to Florida.
So yeah, he went to another dog shit place. That's good. What's my next?
By the way, has anybody seen the Netflix doc? It dropped today. Has anybody started it on Florida?
I have not. Did I watch Johnny though?
I ain't watching that.
What? Why?
What?
No.
Oh, just because Tennessee got railed during those seasons. Is that what you're talking about?
Nah, I don't need to watch. I remember what happened.
Come on, Chris. Get a steel trap up there, I guess. I want to watch it.
I want to just watch Urban Meyer.
Yes. Talk out his ass.
And just watch him build a program but not know how to coach. It's going to be exciting. Yeah, kind of like watching Mario Cristobal. Continue, JC.
I forgot that was out. I'm going to have to watch Hard Knocks after, I guess. All right. Here's my place. Oh, yeah. Okay. Another pick here. We got USC, San Jose State.
How did I know this was coming?
Give me Caleb Williams, Lincoln Riley. Well, I think they'll really come out strong and hot. They're not going to show much of what they got, but I don't think they have to get up a lot in this game. I'm a little bit nervous in the second half. Your backups come in. You maybe take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. But if you want Caleb Williams to have another Heisman season, which, of course, you want to, your Lincoln Riley, that's all you have under your belt. I think they'll let him play a little bit longer here and maybe, try to increase the continuity there in the offense. So I'm a little bit nervous about coming back in the second half, but we'll take I got him at 30.5.
Yep.
All righty. And then maybe my favorite, and I think all of our ones we're gonna watch, Notre Dame Navy. I like Notre Dame here. I think the defense is going to be improved. Obviously, Hartman in there at quarterback. Hearing good things about him and Fall, but you're never going to know until you get on the field. I think there was a lot of issues last year. They started playing better towards the end of the season, but it's really kind of counting their season beyond this game. It's really going to be on that defensive side of the ball, and they have to show improvement there to really do anything this year. But I do like 21. versus
20 and a
Navy.
half is what I've got right now.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, hell yeah, I'll take that half point. And then also I like. Do you have 11 and a half for the first half? You might not.
Let me see here.
Maybe it's a point off again. The one I have.
I've got 10 and a half.
Oh, there's another point there. I do like the first half line there. I'm not a big, first half line guy, but something I like here. They come out strong. And those are the picks.
All right. Now the big kahuna steps in. And by the way, my picks are just, we haven't even talked about the best game on this card. And that is Ohio traveling to the surface of the sun in San Diego State to play the Aztecs. I'm going to use the Bobcats in honor of the Bobcat and Caden Rourke showing up fresh off that ACL tear 11 months ago. He's starting. You're seeing the line drop. It went from 3 to 2.5, a big move. I'm going to take Ohio money line as my dog of the week. I think this offense is just going to go. Obviously, Bangura's back. What's the wide receiver? Wilkera's? Wilka's?
Oh, can't remember.
It's a white kid. What Wilkera's? Something like that. He's back. Rourke's back. Rourke is probably the best quarterback in the match.
Wigglers.
Yeah,
we're pronouncing that right.
We're there. They play enough defense, and that's all you got. That's all you got to do against San Diego State, who I still don't trust this offense to score. Defensively, their secondary is stout, but this O-line and the offense for Ohio, I think they can put up more points than the Aztecs. But I'm curious, that stadium, Chris, you might have heard about this. I don't know if you have, JC, but that stadium, when they built it last year, like there is no shade.
Right.
Anywhere in the stadium. It
the
is
cleats are going to burn, dude.
Yeah, the surface of the sun. It's an afternoon kick, so it'll be noon their time, but I don't know because they have a hurricane, because that makes sense, hitting California right now. Oh, 7:01 evening game.
Okay, well then that won't be as bad. You're not gonna have the sun beating.
Why are they favored then? That's my question. Just home game?
I think it's the travel. I think it's MAC team going out west. Toledo.
That line might also move now that everyone knows Rourke is playing, because
it's a half-point move so far today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll still move a little more. There was just such a question over whether Rourke was playing that I think people were holding off.
So get that now. Before I get to my locks, I'm going to go with my other plays in the same game. I like the under 49.5. I think that's a little bit too high. That is crashing. I bet you'll see under 49 by kickoff. I'm with you, JC. Notre Dame minus 20.5. And Chris has more color on this, but I know Army is going to a more shotgun RPO type offense because of the rules against the triple option. Once again, reason 78 that the NCAA are terrorists. But
I read today that they were keeping
war crimes. Everything I've heard is, and there was a Sports Illustrated article about it, and Jeff Monken was like, we got to change it. We figured out last year we have to change it at some point. So I think you're going to see a lot more shotgun type RPO.
Yeah, they're still running an option, but it's going to be more like the Coastal Carolina option. They will be throwing the ball a little more. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that all the option teams are going that route. I know.
You're going to do a pistol?
Yeah. I don't know for sure that's a pistol. I know Kennesaw State's going to a pistol. Kennesaw State's going to a pistol. They're banning the triple option. They're still running a form of the option though. Yeah, Army and Navy are both doing something similar. Air Force doesn't run a true traditional triple option either. They haven't for a few years now. But yeah, pretty much because of the rule changes, the fullback, behind the center triple option, wishbone, that's probably dead now. I don't know that we'll ever see it again.
Terrorists, war crimes. Yeah, and for that reason, I think you're playing right into Notre Dame's hands. This is a Notre Dame team who barely got by Navy last year. I think a change in this offense, and what you notice about Navy is they start off the season extremely slow. I mean, remember last year they lost at home to Delaware by a touchdown. Okay, this is a team that starts slow. You can go back the past few years. And look, the first game out of the block, Navy's still trying to figure out things, and especially moving to a new offense. I like Notre Dame to absolutely cruise here. 20.5. And you know what, JC? I'm going to follow you. I'm going to take the first half as well. Let's get to the locks. Locks, the Bulldogs, La Tech, Hank Bachmeier for president. I love it. All the reasons you guys said. So don't need to go much further. And Chris, I'm hoping you can help me out here. And this is, I promise, if this is my week 0 game of the year play. Okay. This is my week 0 game of the year play starting off. If this doesn't hit, call me 1-800-ROB-STU-S. Rob Stu S. All our picks are free the rest of the year. That's my pledge to you. If this does not hit, okay. Give me the Great Danes. Okay, when you talk about dogs, Great Danes are majestic creatures. And the Albany Great Danes are the most majestic of all creatures as they host our beloved Rams of Fordham Saturday night. What a game. Albany barely lost last year. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, we're not going to see the same Fordham we saw last year. They're stud quarterback, stud wideouts. They leave. Still got a decent offense there. Good running game, good O-line.
And their offensive coordinator left. And their backup quarterback is now the starting quarterback at Old Dominion.
Go Monarchs. And here's the thing. This defense, from what I can tell, reading the Phil Steele FCS preview, go buy it now, still AIDS. Still has it. Riddled with AIDS. Still. I think Albany returning their offense. Poffenbarger.
Yeah, Reese Poffenbarger. He was an Old Dominion transfer.
Reed Poffenbarger. He's going to be a household name, JC. Household. Is Georgia going to? I heard Georgia was reaching out to him. That's what I heard.
I hope by the time that he is a household name that we know how to pronounce his name. That'd be nice.
Reed Poffenbarger.
Reese
Poffenbarger. Dude, this is not good. You're putting this energy out, dude.
Poffenbarger. Look, Albany's going to score. I think they're at home. They are at home. They're gonna win this game, and I like the over because it's Fordham. They don't play defense. Albany has serious questions on defense, I think, as well. Not as many as I think Fordham does, but still not the world's. You're not talking 85 Bears here, so I think the over's in play. The only problem is I don't have lines on this,
and I don't either.
And
because actually, so I speaking of this game, I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. I'm waiting for that line to come out because I think Fordham is going to be a double-digit favorite.
If Fordham's a double-digit favorite, I will be betting my mortgage on Albany. Responsibly.
For your first-time viewers, first-time listeners, this is one of many game of the years.
You're not going to get a game of the year like that.
He says game of the year.
You will not get a game of the year like this.
Albany
for months.
They were beating Fordham in the fourth quarter with about 4 minutes left and gave up a touchdown. Then they drove down to the 35 and got stopped on downs. But yeah, they played right with Fordham last year when they had DeMorat. Fordham also lost an All-American linebacker. As bad as that defense was, Ryan Greenhagen was one of the best linebackers in the country. I think the defense for Fordham will be a little bit better, mainly because Fordham won't score as much, so that they won't have to, defend as much. But yeah, I'm very curious what this line comes out, because if it's
where
Albany,
would the total need to be for you, Chris? For you to bet it.
I don't
for
even.
me, I'm thinking 62, 61.
Yeah, that's probably a fair number. I have a hard time gauging the total. I've got to look more into that, because I probably agree it's going to be a higher scoring game, because I still think the Fordham will have, they will be more of an offensive football team than a defensive football team, regardless of who they lost. But I'm just focusing on the side, to be honest, because one thing I've noticed in the FCS is that if a team made the playoffs last year, a team won the conference last year, generally the next year, no matter what, that team is expected to be similar. The problem is that just doesn't always work. If it's a team that you've seen consistently perform at a high level, like North Dakota State, then I'd say, yeah, that if they have 5 starters back, I'd still say they're a top 20, a top 10 team probably, let alone a top 25 team, regardless of lack of experience. Because North Dakota State's been there, done that every year. Montana State, South Dakota State, programs like that. But Fordham's not. They had one really, really good year with a really, really good quarterback. And I just don't think that kind of guy grows on trees. So, then you throw in the offensive coordinator leaving and the backup quarterback leaving, and their top 2 receivers are gone, and they have a bad defense. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be as good as they were last year. And they played a lot of bad teams close because of bad defense.
The CAA, where Albany plays, and Albany's mid-tier team, I think they're good enough to break into that 4th, 5th, 6th best in the CAA this year.
They could. They have the quarterback to do it if the defensive improves. But the
CAA is legit feisty.
Yeah, the CAA is probably the 3rd or 4th best FCS conference. The Patriot League is basically one team.
Holy Cross and everybody else.
And last year was Holy Cross and Fordham and everybody else. Now it's just Holy Cross and everybody else. And I think there's a pretty big gap between the Holy Cross and the everybody else. And some of the everybody else is really bad, like Georgetown, Lafayette, Lehigh. Those programs are pretty bad.
What's nice about living here in Virginia? I get Masson, and guess what they carry? Lafayette football games. So guess what? Going to be watching a lot of Lehigh Lafayette games this year. Can't wait.
I was on a radio show in Richmond a few weeks ago.
That's not shocking.
Talking Spiders football.
When you come to the College Football Pick'em show here on the Robin Stew Show, this is what you're going to get. Degenerate hours. We're going to be bringing it to you all year long. And that'll do it for us. One quick last plug. Subscribe. Paul Sports Network. Subscribe. Build the pirate ship. And check out ncsports.com. Power Sweep is coming back soon. Chris is,
actually, if you go to NC Sports, if you go to ncsports.com, we put out this week 0 Power Sweep for free for everybody. Go to ncsports.com. You can get that for free.
Yeah, go check it out. It is a great tool. The amount of information, it's not the information you're going to be able to get from sporting news. Okay.
And seriously, if you're interested, I really think there's a lot of value in betting in the FCS. Go to philsteele.com. We have a digital FCS magazine and two pages chock full of information about every FCS program. You're not going to get that anymore.
I swear, if you're right about Fordham being a double-digit favorite, look out.
Yeah, I think they're
Look
going
out.
to be. I think
If they are,
that's what the
Chris,
power ratings. seem to
Chris,
indicate.
if they are you joining me? We'll
I
put
mean-
our mortgages together
I can't do that,
responsibly.
but
Responsibly.
yeah, I will be. I will be laying money on Albany this weekend if it's. Frankly, if they're the dog, I'll lay money on Albany.
Stu, I want game of the year totals for you. I want that as a separate tab, just so we
Yeah,
can
that's
laugh
fine.
at you at the end of the year, please. Thank you.
I was undefeated in game of the years last year.
Right.
So
No, we didn't keep that stat. I don't want to hear that.
okay. Well, look, on that upsetting note, for CVD, for JC Shelton, take care, brush your hair, and we'll see you after a while.